Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're getting back to work for the final race of the year, and we're starting in a spot that I wasn't expecting to. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me this season. It's been a real grind. It's been very difficult. It's been very stressful, but at the same time, it's also been pretty dang rewarding if you ask me. Yeah, we should be in a better spot than we are, but that's racing. So if you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It would help me a ton with the algorithm and with Google and with the possible merch line that I'm about to announce. I still got to get that ironed out. I'm not sure when we'll be announcing that, but shoot, it might even be on this video and I don't even know it yet. You'll know before I do, apparently. But we're getting back to work on the car. By the way, tell your friends and family, whoever you think would enjoy this, and send them my way. Again, subscribers really help, especially watching. Watching subscribers really helps. All right, so getting back to work on the car. Now, I noticed last race that I was really flat-footing it out of the corner, and I'm like, I don't think that this car handling well should bog the motor down. Like, I don't think that's really a possibility. It shouldn't slow down the car because it handles so well. That really is not something that happens. Even in my mini stock, it didn't happen. So we got an issue, and I don't know where to start. I've been trying to fish it out for a few weeks without telling you guys. I looked in the distributor, seems to be fine. I know that I put a new module and coil in it a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. I don't even remember how long ago. I put one in there, it works. So it's not that. I think it's fuel related. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm actually gonna rip the carburetor off, and I'm gonna try to set it up the way it's supposed to be set up. Squaring off transfer slots, setting the idle mixture screws properly. I think we might have gone on a little bit too far in the wrong direction to get that thing working properly. And I need to start from square one and try that first. Now that my eyes are burning again from checking timing and playing with the carburetor, I was thinking that the idle mixture screws were too far adjusted, but like when I checked them, they were only one turn out. So I'm like, well, they can't be that far off. It's within 1 to 1.5 turns, so that's pretty normal. I tried squaring off, you know, some old school stuff, trying to square off the transfer slots. That didn't work. All it did was make the idle really high. So I did my best, and I let it warm up for quite a while, and then just kind of tried to set it by ear without turning the mixture screws too much, and Well, it seemed happy. I forgot it was already in gear. That's why it was clunking and it was just driving the wheels in reverse. I'm like, whoops, that wasn't very smart, but whatever. I apologize for the wind noise, but you know. I was considering trying another carburetor because I built this one. I basically took it and blueprinted it off of one that was a good one that I had before. And I had it dynoed, and he said it was okay. So I'm like, okay, I'll go with it. I mean, we're not like, it's not like we're that far off, but we're a little bit hurting for power because we're a little bit low, you know, a little slow on restarts. And like I said, when the car is driving off the corner and my foot's through the firewall and I'm not moving forward, it's not gaining RPMs. To me, that's a problem. So I don't know, I might beg my brother for his or find another one, or I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we got a few options weighing around. I just talked to my brother on the phone. Maybe I'll borrow his carburetor, see if that's any better. And if it is, then I guess we'll have to weigh options for next year. So that being said, whatever else we're going to do, we'll have to wait for tomorrow because I'm going inside to edit the last video that you've already seen. So see you guys. Actually, I don't even know if I'll be out here tomorrow, but whenever. It'll be in the next shot in the video. Who cares? It is a few days later. I have gotten some parts, I have gotten some tools, and I am fully committed to figuring out why my car feels so lazy for some reason. I don't understand what it is. Honestly, I really don't. Usually, I mean, we do run a crate engine with a 2-barrel carb, but it's a 500. It's a 4412 with headers, which are Schoenfeld 185s. And that's what we're mandated. And that's all we're allowed to use. We have a mandated carburetor spacer plate, and everything that we run is mandated. Basically, it's so to keep the competition as affordable and level as possible. So I don't know why, and I mean, this is a common complaint I've had all year long, is the thing feels lazy. Like some races earlier in the year felt great, felt fine. Some races I've changed the spark plugs, feels fine, you know, go out there and race hard. But lately, man, restarts stink. It does not gain RPMs coming off the corner sometimes. Like, I'll have my foot flat to the floor and driving off as hard as possible, and it is not going anywhere. Like, you can watch the videos. Like, you can see and listen, and it's just, it doesn't move, man. It sucks. It's really frustrating. So I got a whole bunch of stuff to try to help solve that. See, now the last time we had this problem, I changed the coil and the module in the distributor, and then I changed the spark plugs back to what I know works, and boom, it worked fine. It would go and it would be okay on restarts, and it was fine. Now though, I don't know what it is, but I don't think that's the problem, to be completely honest with you. I mean, oh. That's fun. Well, at least the other three are on. So it's just flat. It feels flat. And I put valve springs in it 2 races ago, so that shouldn't be the issue. I should pull the rockers off. It doesn't make noise. But what I want to do is a bunch of things. We're going to pull all the plugs. We're going to do a compression test. I'm going to check the fuel pressure off of the pump. The pump is brand new this year. It's a QFT Holley pump. So it better be good, but you never know with parts nowadays. I also borrowed a carburetor from my brother. This is the exact replica of the one that I have. I basically have another one of those I blueprinted and made 2 carburetors out of. And it's the same basic thing. I'm just going to bolt it on and see if it runs better. I also got, I got them stupid zip ties that you see on TikTok. The little T-bar ones with the caps. I got those. I don't know why. I think they were already in my Amazon thing. I got a top dead center locator because I want to take and make sure and verify the timing mark on the balancer. Which, I mean, this is the factory balancer for this engine, and it has been on there since 2018 when it was built, or actually it was built in 17, but I raced it in 18. And I did put a paint line across where the rubber and the two halves of the harmonic dampener is, but I mean, I have a spare one just in case for a 602 crate. And I also bought this, a brand new digital timing light to replace the Harbor Freight one. I mean, I'm not an expert in anything, but I can do some very basic tuning. And I look at the ground strap on the spark plugs, and I can check how my timing is on that. And it's, I don't know, it just seems off. You know what I mean? And I know ignition timing, it counts for a lot of power, especially in a crate engine. So I'm like, man, I really got to verify that. And if I need to change the dampener on it, at least I got a spare, completely legal one sitting over there that's got like, I don't know, 2 races on it from when I had it on my built motor. But like, I just want to find out why the hell this thing is flat. So we're going to go through every process to try to figure out why. And I'm even going to, get under the rear end of the car, and I'm going to like rotate it, make sure that's not all bound up and stuff. It didn't get hot. It felt fine. I didn't hear no weird noises, so that shouldn't be the issue. But I was even checking brake calipers. I mean, I'm checking everything. So let's start bolting things onto this thing and see if we can't somehow figure out what it is, if there's anything wrong. Here's the timing light I purchased. Ooh, sweet. Look at that unit. The Innova digital timing light. It tells you pretty much everything. Basically right there on your screen, it'll tell you your advance and it'll tell you your RPMs. I went all out. I didn't go to Harbor Freight this time, which everybody knows. And I'm just going to be honest with you, that the best items that you buy from Harbor Freight are usually what's pretty average on Amazon. When it comes to this type of thing, I'm kind of tired of dealing with cheap stuff. I appreciate Harbor Freight for what they are. I appreciate their hand tools. It's really allowed me the opportunity to do what I want to do, especially with all of this. However, sometimes you just got to have professional tools. And for this type of thing, why not? I do own Milwaukee tools when it comes to power tools. I've owned DeWalt's. I've owned plenty of high dollar items. But you know what? There's a time and place for Harbor Freight. Now, I do not like using these solid ones with the little rubber end on it to check compression because they don't really seat as well as, sticking this thing in there and just kind of reeling it down and doing it. But I wanted to just get an idea to make sure that all the cylinders had compression. And I got that because if it didn't quite seat, they were all one specific number. If I got it to really seat where it didn't have any blow by past the little tip here, it was another number. So that tells me they're all pretty much fine. So if I really want to get into the minutia of this, I'll pull this one out and really give it hell. But I think we're going to just move on to putting spark plugs back in it. And we're going to start Oh, you know what? Without the spark plugs in, I should grab this and bar it over and just verify timing marks. So we'll do that first. Well, I found some interesting stuff. Like, you can see this gap here is a little different than this gap here. See how my finger kind of fits in between there, but doesn't really fit in between there? So we're either off by 2 or 4 degrees on that thing. I'm going to have to do some measuring and checking, but we're off. That, just by the naked eye, I can tell that those two lines are not the same. Basically what you do is you stick your piston stop in, you roll it over until it stops. Make sure it's close to 0 though. Make your measurements as close as possible. Be gentle too. Make sure all the plugs are out. Make sure it's out of gear, like I forget all the time. Do that. Then you got to roll it all the way around the other way and get the measurement from the other side of when the piston's coming back up. Then you mark it twice, and then you got to figure out exactly where the middle of that is, and there's your 0. Clearly the way you want to do it is when the motor is being built, but we can't exactly do that with a sealed engine. Took my little 10-footer Stanley Power Lock, and the reason I use this tape is because it's like a tire tape. It's very flat and flexible. And I was able to run it around the ridge of the balancer, and I can see the paint lines across the balancer, so the balancer hasn't slipped, so that's good. It hasn't moved. However, I was right. I measured from the mark of 0 to the mark on one side. It's a 3/4 of an inch. I marked it the other direction from 0. It's at 1 inch. That is a 1/4 of an inch difference. A 1/4 of an inch on there is 4 degrees of timing. Yeah, that's great. That's good to know now, going into the last race of the year. I had this motor refreshed, and you'd think they would kind of look at that, but I don't know why it's off by a 1/4 of an inch. So that tells me that it's moved up a 1/4 of an inch because the wider part is above 0. The lower part is the shorter one, so that means it's up 4 degrees. So say I was running 34 degrees of timing, right? That's a good round number. That means we weren't at 34 degrees, we were at 30. Isn't that interesting? So 4 degrees of timing can make a lot of difference. And if it was 2, I'd say it's probably not as much of a difference. But for 4, that's a lot. That's a lot. So I'm going to play around with this, try to get it back straight again. Luckily, I used like a China marker. I could just wipe it off with some carb cleaner very easily. And we're going to try to get this thing back to 0. And dang it all, I need to give credit where it's due. This cheap little Harbor Freight timing light that's got this cheap little knob for advance on the back, it was reading funny, right? I would set this thing, because remember we tested this. I set it because it goes past 0. So I set it to 0, and it never moved until I got it past 0. I set it to like 34, right? Remember that round number we were talking about? And I was looking at the balancer for the 0 mark, and it was actually past 0 by a few degrees. And I'm like, it must be this cheap old timing light. Well, you know what? Credit where it's due. This cheap old light was right. Next step is going to be, you know what? Call me crazy, but I'm pulling a distributor out of the car. Right now, I'm going to be setting it to top dead center on the number 1 cylinder because that's just how I do things. And I'm going to take the cap off, move that aside so I don't have to take all the plug wires and fix those. Move that aside, and then I'm going to pull the distributor housing out. Number 1, I want to check the gear mesh, make sure that we fixed that with the shims that we put in a few weeks ago. And number 2, I'll show you. All right, I don't have a microphone that works because all of them died or are not charged for whatever reason. So I got my timing light hooked up. I got the carburetor on. I've got screwdrivers galore. Let's see if we can get any sort of results out of this now. It sounds way better. Okay, so learned a lot, really. And I think chief among which is that I don't think I'm very good at building carburetors, number one, because this is my brother's. It is, like I said, an exact replica of the one that I had. I can tell it doesn't work as well already. That carburetor sounded so much better. I mean, it definitely was a lot more alive on the throttle. It looked like it atomized better. There was nothing pulling through the boosters. Like I said, the only issue is got a little weepage around the needle and seat. This is the carburetor that was on my brother's car in April when we went to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and the needle went bad and sunk the float, and then it would backfire into my face and burned all of my hair. Hopefully I remember to put that video up right there so you guys can check that out. But I replaced the needle and seat in that. I just don't remember if I did the gasket. I have plenty of gaskets in the carburetor box sitting right here, but well, we'll see if I can get that going. I forgot, we put a fuel pressure gauge on this thing. I did read it. It was 7, and it never moved at all. I mean, it would fluctuate like this under idle, but under load, and I revved it up, it never dipped off of 7. I think this fuel pressure gauge has to be from like the 90s, but it is perfect. It works perfectly, so I trust it implicitly. Otherwise, this thing sounded pretty damn good, and I think we're just going to try it. I'm still chasing problems. It is literally hours later, like the sun's going down, and I just, I'm racking my brain. I mean, there's smoke coming out of my ears at this point. I'm still having problems. And I know that there's something ignition related now, because I went through the carburetor. This thing sounds way better. But for some reason, there's just, I can't pinpoint it, but something is wrong. And I wish I could tell what it is, but it's just something not right. Like, there's a reason why I keep going through and seeing if I can figure out where top dead center is, and seeing where the degrees of everything is, and just all this, work to go look through things and check for vacuum leaks and check for all these other electrical gremlins or issues. And it's like something just isn't right. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go dive into the toolbox, grab my spare distributor out from underneath there, swap it out. Oh, there it is. Found it right down there. Swap it out with this one. Do all the same stuff to get it back right like this one did. Maybe I'll just swap the bottom part, because the top part's all brand new. The coil is brand new. I think I'll just take the coil off and just swap the guts out of it and put that in there, and then see if the issues that I'm having go away. So it's really kind of been a very trying time in the garage for the last few hours. And we're really not making a heck of a lot of progress, but maybe we'll give that a shot. New distributor, didn't change anything. So I'm trying to go through my head and think, is it just in my brain or something else? Because I don't know, if I ask you guys, it's going to be too late, because this video comes out after my race. So it's like, well, what's the difference at this point? So we've eliminated a lot of problems. The car does sound a million times better with this carburetor on there that my brother let me borrow. It's just, I got these weird things going on that I'm just kind of scratching my head about, and I'm really bad at looking things up on the internet. So I think I'll just start asking around. I'm really kind of sick of sitting here and sucking fumes all day, so I think I'll make a few phone calls to people who will definitely know, or at least have a better idea of what's going on with my car. And we'll see what they have to say. And maybe it's just in my head. Maybe it's not a huge deal. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. So I'll just start digging in and seeing what happens. But I bet you it's okay. It's just something else. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, next day. I'm really kind of over the frustrating part of trying to figure this out. Now, you know that I'm kind of neurotic when it comes to talking about what's in my race car. Well, I should have just told you straight away because it doesn't really matter. In these ignition systems, GM HEI 602 crate engine, there's two schools of thought. Clearly, from factory, a GM HEI ignition comes with an advanced mechanism. You've got the vacuum advance, which clearly we take off. And you've got the counterweight system, which is also a mechanical advance. Now, there's two schools of thought, like I said. One is you can leave the mechanical advance, but you kind of tune on that. Like Moroso makes, which is, by the way, a Connecticut company, which is where I'm from. I'm just shocked they're still here given the climate of this area for business. Moroso makes these counterweights. Now, they are cut in such a way that you can have it essentially advance, and you can tune how fast or slow it advances with springs. And usually what I do is I use those specific counterweights and lightest springs possible, because by about 2,800 RPM, it's done advancing and it's there. It's dead stopped, right? And it's just kind of nice to have because in the really hot summer months, it helps to cool the car off because it's not fully advanced and it's kind of tames the motor down under caution, right? So sometimes it's kind of useful. And all the restarts happen above 3,000, so what's the difference in my mind? I've always had good luck. I've never really had a problem with it. The second school of thought is, and this is what most people do, they lock the advance out. So basically, whatever you set it to is what it is. And the only problem with that is it can sometimes make your car run hotter, which for me, it's hit or miss. I can have it run 210 all race, or I can have it run 170 like I did last week. So the problem that I was having with my car, which was stumping me for hours and hours last night, was the fact that currently this car is running a locked out ignition. Like I said, two schools of thought. And when I go to start the car, usually what you do is you would turn the car over with the starter button and then flip the switch for the ignition, because if you just flip the switch for the ignition, even 30, 32 degrees of timing, sometimes it'll bog the motor down or the starter, and it's really hard to start. Like it just chugs. And that's not good. So that's why you would wait to flip the ignition switch once the engine is rolling over, because then it'll light right off. My car, here's the weird part that perplexed me for hours yesterday. Don't try this at home by any stretch of the imagination, but I put 40 degrees of advance in that thing with the ignition locked out, just to see what it would do, because I'm like, okay, this is weird, because I would flip the switch on and then roll the engine over. It wouldn't bog down. Nope, wouldn't bog at all. I'm like, is there some kind of a problem? That's why I've been tearing through this car, trying to figure out if there's something wrong. I've tried two distributors. I top dead centered the balancer. I checked the balancer. I got a new timing light. I've done all these things because I just something seems off. And I know that there are circumstances that could allow for an engine like this, even with locked out timing, to roll over perfectly normal without having to do the spin it over and then flip the switch trick. So I'm kind of like, maybe there's a problem, but at the same time, maybe there isn't. So I'm going to get off of that. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of trying stuff to try to figure it out or fix it or whatever. And I'm just going to get back to working on damage. Now, there is a little bit of damage on the bumper end that we really got to fix. Well, you can see how serious I was taking it. I got my backup balancer out. Anyway, back bumper's caved in a little bit. So I'm going to take and just kind of stick my porta power somewhere and just shove it back down into place and then replace it in the off season and just go. Got to take a hammer to the right front a little bit. I accidentally hooked it on the trailer and pulled this rivet out and that rivet by the looks of it. And it looks like when I got into that rental car, it might have shoved this corner of the bumper back because you can see how it's pooched out right here and kind of tucked in here. That tells me that the bumper's kicked in. And if I just kind of push the corner of the bumper out, this will pull out and that'll suck back in. So I'm pretty sure that the front bumper's a little bent. Also, the ducting and the grill screen is really kind of tacoed. But you know what? For the last race of the year, I think I'm just going to replace the rivets and just send it because this thing is junk anyway. This car is definitely getting stripped and sent back to Zach's just so I can put it on the jig and make sure it's still straight after all of the impacts that we've had all season long. So that's going to be on the agenda for after this season, but we got to get through this last race first. That's good enough, I guess. It's still a little kinked, and I chucked a bunch of random paint from empty cans I had hanging around just so it wouldn't look like crap. But that's pretty good. Chucked a couple rivets on the front end. Got the bumper fixed over there. This nose is a bit hazardous if you're trying to lean over it. Protect yourself. And bumper seems to be good. Fender came out as good as you can get it with how destroyed it is, I suppose. I chucked some grease into the upper A-frames. I don't remember the last time I did that. And I think at this point, we're pretty good. You know, I'll go take a look at the rear end and make sure no axle seals are leaking. And I'll go move a wheel in the front just to make sure the hub isn't loose, even though I just did the bearings in those. Just regular maintenance stuff. And then tomorrow we're going to throw it on some scales for the last time this year. So it's been I mean, you guys watched with me the whole season long. And if you haven't, go back and watch because we had some real interesting moments, I would say. You know, I'll save the retrospective for when we're finally done, but it's been a ride. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot about a lot of things. So I'm going to probably just close up shop for the night, given how bad my back hurts right now. And I'm going to go find the nearest pizza place and stuff my face. So that'll make me feel better. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, it is Thursday. It is now load up day and setup day. That's all that's on the cards for today because I've already done everything else. I've already put grease to it. Didn't need to change the oil. I went through the whole thing as much as humanly possible to try to find any little problems that we were having. And, Even I still don't remember if we got it all or not, but you know by watching that I tried. One final race this year, and it's already starting to get cold out. Like the t-shirt that I'm wearing, probably not enough. It's pretty chilly. But anyway, this thing's got to go on scales real quick. I'm going to go through it, front to back, just to be safe, just to make sure bolts are tight and everything's okay. Then we're going to put it on, well, actually, no, we can't put it on scales yet. I got to take half of that adjustment out that I put in last week because allegedly we were a little close on frame height on the left front. So I put a couple turns in the left front to get it up off the ground, which in turn screwed up my weights, which I had to compensate with the rear of the car. And apparently it pulled the left side up so high that I'm now like 3/4 of an inch too high. So it's like, well, dang, okay. That wasn't what I made for an adjustment, but that's where we are now. So I'm going to go back in there and take one round out. Hopefully that will make a difference and the numbers will come a little closer to what we need now. I'm actually going back to where we were because I keep trying to loosen it up with cross weight by not changing the spring rate or anything. Just cross weight, just basic stuff, and all we're really doing is making it loose on entry. So I'm just going to go back to the way it was. It's like, okay, I can deal with it being tight as long as it's fast. I don't care. So put one round back up in the left front, then on scales. Guys, one last time for this year, obviously. Maybe we'll be back. I gotta look this up. I might as well test it and see if that thing does work or not. Right up. And for what I believe is at least the 17th time, and the last one, like I've said, it's in the box and we're ready to go. And as the autumn chill descends upon us with my shirt that's far too short, and the leaves begin to fall, it's the end of the racing season. And granted, you probably know what's going to happen at the end of this video before I do, but I will tell you this: I appreciate all of you for coming along on this journey with me. And like every single time I say before we race, we're gonna go do what we do best, which is our best. And I'll see you guys at the track. All right, guys, back at the track, essentially. I'm almost there. Last time this year, as you've probably heard about 10 times, but it's a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky, about 65 degrees. And leaves are starting to change already, but we are in October. Getting ready to go one more time. Yeah, you can see the leaves changing already. Still a beautiful day though. Practice and heat race report. Car was a little tight in practice. We loosened it up. I missed a round because I had to get the toe right and fix the caster, which I didn't like, so I just put the shims back the way I like it. Heat race, well, once we got into the top 5, I just kind of cruised. I got a little bit experimental. So I went and checked to see if I could catch the group, and basically I left a little gap and then I closed it back up. So I'm like, okay, well, we can make moves in traffic if we need to. So car was decent, loosened it up just a little bit more because it's getting dark and cold. It's going to be a little bit tight again. So starting, I think, 12th, because a bunch of guys who are not in the top 18 in points got into high qualify, so that kind of moved us up a little bit. And that helps, but still starting on the outside. But we'll try our best. Last race, so we got to try to keep our nose clean, finish strong. Well, that's it. My first full season in, oh my God, I can't even remember. I have to think back through my memory banks about how long Thompson Speedway has been working on their road course project, which was when we got cut for races. And I'm thinking back, and I think 2012 may have been right before that. And I think it was 2013 where they started to cut races. I think they went down to like 12. And then after that, it was like 10 and then 7. And it was not full time after 2012, I'm pretty sure. And in that time, I was racing a mini stock. I had started in 2008 at the end of the year just to get my feet wet. And then 2009 was a full season. And then I think 10 and 11 were my last real full-time seasons, unless I blew an engine and missed races because I didn't have the money to fix it, which happened a lot. So for me, it's probably been since 2012, maybe? I don't even remember now at this point, since I've actually raced a full season. That's what, 13 years since I've run over 10 or 7 races in a season. Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know it was that long. I didn't think it was that long. That's incredible. So for me to be over 40 and doing this mostly on my own and be able to run how many did we get in? 17 races? I think we would have had more if not for the rain that happened 2 or 3 times while we were at the track. So they planned for a 22 race season. We got 17. It happens. But we finished 4th in points. Pretty damn respectable, especially considering that was our first year there. You know, we'd run a handful of races. I think I did 2 or 3 in 2020 and, you know, 1 in like 21 and 1 in like, or 2 in like 23 or something like that. I'm not even sure, but we only ran scattered races here and there, and to come out with a brand new car at a new track, doing something we haven't done in over a decade, and to come out and win twice, have 10 top 5s in 17 races. That's pretty awesome. Almost had 11, except for those damn late race yellows. We had 15 top 10s in 17 races, and guess what those other 2 finishes were? Yeah, we didn't finish. The guy who won the title had 1 win, 7 top 5s, and all top 10, 17 top 10s. We had more top 5s, we had more wins. We just dropped out of 2 races, and that's what killed us. For as inconsistent as we were through the midsummer trying setups and stuff, I'll be honest with you, if we didn't have all those problems and if we didn't have those 2 races and if we were like we are now, we would have been straight up contenders for the title. No question. No question at all. Which means I got to do it again, don't I? So I think I'm going to talk to sponsors even more. And I think now that I have a year under my belt, shoot, the truck has new tires and a new transmission, and it's a 12-valve Cummins. Of course, it's going to run, so we know that. It's got new rear end clutches and the differential. Trailer's got new tires, new brakes, new hubs, new bearings. I've been gooping it to make sure the water doesn't get in it. And the race car's got a fresh motor. Granted, yeah, it's got 17 races on it, but at Stafford, you're not beating the heck out of it, really. I mean, actually, I did a compression test on it. It's perfectly fine. Like, these engines are crate engines, and they last for over 100, maybe even 150 races. I mean, it's just ridiculous how long they last, you know. And I mean, we're gonna have to strip the car. We're gonna have to do some work to it. We're gonna have to make sure it's straight and clean, and I'll have it pulled apart. Clearly, you know, this isn't the end of the YouTube channel just because the damn season ended. No, this is a personal vlog about what it's like to be a car guy, and we're gonna have some fun and teach some lessons and learn some things along the way. And I know I've been talking a lot, and I apologize for that, but it's the end of the season. I got to reflect on everything, and I hope you don't mind. But I want to say thank you to every single one of you who's been involved in my program, who's gotten on board with the merch store, which I'm going to plug in a minute, with my sponsors, Northeast Truck and Off-Road in Gales Ferry, Connecticut. Thanks to Tommy and his team at 32 Signs, by the way. I never thank them enough for what they did. But they put an awesome wrap on the car. I told him, look, here's my number, here's my sponsor, go nuts. And I just let him have artistic license at it. He sent me a proof and was like, what do you think? And I said, that looks awesome. And we put him in victory lane twice. Thank you to them as well. Thank you, Frank Jr. Family support goes a long way, and I appreciate every single bit of it. To our contingency sponsors who every week contributed to our racing program, Sunoco Race Fuels, for coming up with a new fuel for us that's, wow, God, it saved us so much money. $30 a tank for 5 gallons. That saved us over $600 a year because they came up with something new for us. Thank you. Rad, thank you again. D&L Services, you can't see him, but he did a lot. Danny the welder, God, I appreciate having him up there. He's so much better. Napa Auto Parts, you can't see their logo. It's gone. Everybody who supports Stafford Motor Speedway, it is just the most pleasant place to race that I've ever been. To my family, my wife and my son, my mom, my brother Jesse, my cousin Eric, my uncle Mark for his decades and decades of support. All of my relatives who aren't here anymore, my dad, more uncles, cousins, people who couldn't be here today to see and have all the fun that we're having. And boy, it would be a lot of fun if they were here, but I know they're still watching. I just hope I am not forgetting anybody. Like I said, Northeast Truck and Off-Road, all the people from the past, all the people who have given me a kind word, all the fans who came out and talked to me and shook my hand, said thank you for the channel and enjoyed everything we do. And gosh, it was so tough. But in the end, it was so rewarding because, you know, when I'm sitting there on a podium finish and kids are just dying to get their picture taken in my car, and I'm like, dude, have at it. You know, get in there. Some of them saying that it's the best day of their life. And I was that kid, man. And being able to share this, you know, with my brother, we've done this forever. We've done this since like 1999 we got into this. We used to race go-karts before that. And I think that's probably the only reason I still do this. Because we did this with my dad. It was a great family activity. It was something we loved to do together. And since he's not here no more, we're clinging on by our fingernails to every single little bit we can get. And you know what? That makes it all worth it. If you know anybody who might be interested in this type of thing, please send them my way. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so as well. And prepare yourselves. You're about to get a merch plug. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned. I got some cool stuff to show you. Thank you guys so much again. We'll see you next year. That's a good sticker, I'll tell you what. Guys, you've made it this far, and I greatly appreciate every single one of you who has, because this helps me a ton. This is now part of my merch store. This is the incomplete collection, but this is all the t-shirts that we have for sale on the merch store, available now at GleasonBrosRacing.com. Do you look like me? Do you need some fresh threads that don't look like complete garbage? Well, I have some. This one here, and by the way, all t-shirts and stuff and hats and everything are available in different colors. Keep that in mind. You can choose whatever color you like. But we have the new logo for the YouTube channel. Double G's, Gleason's Garage. You look at the opening, it says welcome to Gleason's Garage. Well, that's what it is. That's our new logo. This is the race team shirt. I think it came out pretty rad. Got my name, got my number, got Stafford Motor Speedway. Hope they don't mind my using their logo, but that's where we race. Got the basic design of the car. I think it came out pretty great. I'm going to keep this design next year when we run again. It not only easier on my guys at 32 Signs, it's also easier on all of us. So that's available now. if you're a shade tree mechanic like I am, not really anymore because I actually have a roof over my head, but you lay on the ground, it's dirty, it's disgusting. You want a little bit of a nice comfortable padding. Well, you reach for something like this, which is just a plain old cardboard box. You open her up, you lay it out, you got yourself a nice mat to lay on, right? Well, I've in the past called it something a little bit more derogatory, but I think we can all agree on what it really is. That is, that it is a redneck yoga mat. Because what you're doing under that car is contorting to places that you didn't think you could actually do just to get the job done, I suppose. But it's got the dingy old cardboard mat there, redneck yoga mat. Novelty shirt is available up on the website. Again, different colors. I got gray just because I wanted it. If you own a race car, you know that the easiest way for you to get somebody to help you on it is to offer them something in exchange. Now, you don't have money because that's sitting here. No racer actually has money, but they do have something that they can offer in exchange. Usually, that currency is beer or pizza, but free beers. The Will Crew for free beer t-shirt, also available. Got the skull, the helmet, the cross wrenches, and the beer in the other hand. Available now. All of these are actually pretty cheap. They're under $25 for a nice Gildan soft style t-shirt that's actually high quality shirt, and to get everything done and have it for like 20 something bucks, that's pretty awesome. This shirt here is my crowning achievement. If you're a racer, you know there's no greater feeling than going out there and not only winning. Winning is great, but dominating is better. And when you dominate, you just get out of that car and be like, boy, we spanked them tonight, didn't we? We showed them who's boss. Well, you can now show everybody else who's boss by getting the Spank the Field t-shirt. Guy bending over his competition and giving them a good spanking and telling them what for. Spank the Field t-shirt, like I said, my crowning achievement, and obviously my favorite besides the team shirt. That's also available as a sticker. And the sticker I peeled off the front of the car, the Eatin' Lunches sticker, that's also available on the website. I got hats with the double G logo on it. You can get them in different color. I think they're snapbacks, but they're also high quality t-shirts and hats. And I was thinking about doing other things too. By the way, I have to give you this disclaimer really quick. I am not in charge of the merch store. I basically set it up. I give them my designs. It's a third party who prints it, stores it, gives out the orders, and ships them. Now, they also use a shipping service that is, let's just say, a little cheaper than everywhere else, but that means because it's cheaper, you're probably gonna have to wait a couple more days. However, my whole idea was I want to try to keep costs down for you guys, just so that you can have these things at a much lower rate. I know some people sell t-shirts for like 30 bucks, and that stinks. You can get one shipped to you for 30 bucks. I mean, you get the t-shirt and the shipping for less than that. So it's pretty darn good, and it's also a good quality shirt, and it helps me out a ton. So get your shirts, get your hats. We're going to expand on the products in the merch store in the future, and hopefully we can put up some pretty awesome stuff for you guys. By the way, if you have any problems like with the quality of the shirts or hats or anything that you get, let me know. Maybe we can make some changes. Maybe you don't like the t-shirts or whatever we use. I can change what kind of shirts and what kind of hats we put to print. That's what I basically have control over. I just don't have control over shipping or handling or fulfillment. Basically, I run the website and tell them, here's my design, please print this for my customers. That's about it. So guys, thank you so much for an awesome 2025 season. It has been a blast. I'm going to order up some more demo stuff to show you what we have. Hopefully that'll come in for next video. And thank you guys again. I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate it. Until next time.